Czechoslovakia came into existence after the collapse of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. It was a state made up of both Czechs and Slovaks, and also Ruthenians. But as many of you will know, the Czechs and the Slovaks were both separate during their time under the Habsburgs, with the Czech lands being run as the Kingdom of Bohemia and Moravia, and the Slovak lands were a part of Hungary. But why was it that when the Austro-Hungarian Empire fell apart, these two peoples combined to form Czechoslovakia instead of both being independent separately? So when Austria-Hungary became embroiled in the First World War, both peoples saw an opportunity. The man that led the movement to break away from Vienna and Budapest was Tamas Masaryk, who pushed for both Czechs and Slovaks to build a single country after independence. He personally wanted to create Czechoslovakia because he was born here and so grew up surrounded by both peoples and saw their cultural similarities. But beyond this, there were pragmatic reasons for the union. The first reason was safety. The founders of Czechoslovakia believed that they needed each other if they were to survive the desires of their neighbours. There were some mild disagreements with Poland to the north over some territory, but Prague's main concern was Germany, or more specifically the number of Germans living on its western border. There had been a push after the war that people should have the right to self-determination. For example, Danes living in Germany were given the choice of whether to stay a part of Germany or join Denmark. And this trend worried the Czechs since it would give Germany a claim to important territory, while the Germans living there voting to take it with them. The Slovaks had similar concerns. In the south sat a large number of Hungarians, and Hungary had made it clear that they wanted these lands and its people back. Furthermore, upon the death of Austria-Hungary, this area, called Carpathia and Ruthenia, was also given to Czechoslovakia. The people there were neither Slovak nor Czech, but instead were Ruthenians. They had initially wanted to become a part of the Russian Empire, but given that that didn't exist anymore, and what replaced it was a tad too communist for the Ruthenians' liking. And so it was decided that it would go to Prague to avoid creating a small state that would likely just get conquered by Hungary again soon afterwards. The Allies wanted this for two reasons. It punished Hungary, which was always nice, and also it connected Czechoslovakia to Romania, which was also worried about Hungary trying to retake old lands. And so when these three ethnic groups were combined, the country had a much greater chance of resisting any foreign threats. The second reason was that whilst the Czech lands had a great deal of industry, its agricultural lands weren't that great, whereas in Slovakia it was the opposite. And as such, the two could help each other, with Slovakia acting as a breadbasket for the country, whilst the Czechs would provide the means of modernising Slovakia by building new factories and a university there. The rights of non-Czechs in the country were guaranteed by the League of Nations in 1919. This of course had one exception, the Polish, since they were added to the country in 1920 when Czechoslovakia occupied these lands. There were concerns about the German regions in the west of the country, but the Prague government lied about how many Germans there were, and also it was inconceivable that either Germany or Austria would receive lands after the war. And with that, the Czechs and Slovaks left not on their own, but united in